Good evening and morning to ya. Last week I got together with my guys Space Tomato, Salty Mike, and Kyle Roddy for the first of what I hope is many episodes of Creators Crush. The stream went a little long since I got to chit-chatting with the live chat at the end, so here's the chopped down version with just the other content creators. So go ahead and crank this up while you clean out your air fryer, fold some clothes, or take a bath surrounded by Yankee candles. And don't worry, the music volume goes down a little while into the conversation. Like up, sub up, and ring up like a boss.
Yes, I am Space Tomato. I make Star Citizen content, mostly videos, but I also stream on Twitch. I have a Discord server. I have an Oregon Star Citizen as well, and just recently started a podcast, so excited to be on yours as well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Salty.
Salty Mike. You may have known me before as Twerk17 from way back, and yeah, I pretty similar, just mostly stream and do a little bit of YouTube, and also have a Discord and an Oregon stuff, and yeah, just really happy to be here and excited to be on your podcast, man.
Right on, glad to have you here, man. And I just found out, Karate told me that your name used to be Twerk. I was dying laughing, man. Where did that come from, man?
So my actual screen name that I would normally use on everything else was taken. So I just I didn't join Twitch thinking I was going to actually stream. I joined it because I was watching, and I didn't think anybody would ever see me or my name. And it was at the time where twerking became this thing that everybody was doing on social media, and my girlfriend at the time and her friend were just doing it in the house, getting around. And I was like, all right, twerk 17. 17's my sports number. So that was it.
I still remember the theme song. Was it twerk, 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 twerk repeatedly with the beat behind it?
Yeah, it's still that. That's when people sub, that still goes off.
What an origin story.
Yep.
Alrighty, man. Tell me a little something about you.
Right. So these days I don't stream much, but I usually, I'm just found in the game, testing out certain mechanics, getting all that just underway, just to get some feedback, to get the player experience. I'll stream again one day, but just not yet.
Okay. Don't you also do a little blogging or something? I remember you were writing something.
Oh, right, yeah. So I was doing some blogging from time to time, just to document the new player experience between the year before and last year, because that was when they first started to bring in purchasable ships in the game. So I was very curious about how the new player experience was at that time, because we didn't have that many mission variations. So I was thinking, okay, if someone were to start off right now and they have to trade and transport hundreds of cargo to get a basic ship, how does that feel? So between the year before and last year, that's what I've been continuously doing. For each patch, for each major patch, as they brought out renting of ships, to give the new player an easier and more enjoyable way to work their way up.
Okay, very cool, my dude. Very, very cool. All right, so I was just trying to get fresh, what I'm saying? I put on a few little threads so I look good, and appreciate if you guys join me in the mess hall in the captain's quarters.
All right, we'll be there.
You be there. All right. So, actually, I'll just wait till you guys get here so we look kind of like we actually doing something here.
Trying to get changed too.
Oh, okay, you guys.
Doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, man. Now I gotta look good. I'm what kind of clothes do I have? Shit.
Everybody's doing a wardrobe change. All right, I'll start off anyway. So I'm a big fan of Star Citizen, but when I talk about it, I like to convey some honesty. And if you're gonna rock with it, you gotta be in for the good as well as the bad, because you ain't got no choice. If you're gonna play it, you gotta accept it. So if somebody that knows like very little about Star Citizen and asked you about it, what would you tell somebody the best and worst things are in the game? And we'll start off with Space.
To be honest, I'd probably just start out by saying both answers are the game itself. But I guess since they'd probably be looking for a serious answer, I'd probably say the best part of the game is the sandbox aspect of it, which is pretty generalized, but I just, that's the best. The fact that you can just hop into the game with a bunch of friends, fly across the system, hang out on a planet, go do something else. Like, there's not really much to do, but the sandbox aspect of it is really it offers a lot more than the game itself. And for the worst thing, oh boy, I mean, the stability is really it. Even if we didn't have all the gameplay we're missing right now, if it was just more stable, I think a lot more people would be playing it.
I feel you. It's weird because it's pretty stable lately. I don't know when that started happening, but it is. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the stability thing is the thing that makes you throw your controller at the wall or your keyboard for all you ASDF types, WASD. But hopefully the next patch is as stable as it is now, because it's doing pretty good. What about you, Salty?
Oh, the best things, I think, is probably the worlds that they're building. The world, you go to Daymar or another location, and it doesn't matter what game I play. I'm making my way over there, by the way. Doesn't matter what game I play. I want to play in this universe because of what they're creating, right? So I think that would probably be the best. And for me, honestly, the worst would be the lack of any real tangible progression aspects of the game. I don't think even earning a ship doesn't really give you that big of a difference in the way, like, let's use like combat ships for example, right? If I was to move from an arrow to something else, it wouldn't feel incredibly different, and that is the part that I feel could use some love for sure. So it basically, the game isn't there yet, right? Where we exist in the game is, but the way we play the game isn't.
Yeah, I guess you can't really dispute that. You said that. Matter of fact, you said that when I was on your live stream.
Yeah, I've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah, that's that's your motto. Alrighty, what about you, man? Kill a cow. Did we lose him? You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, sweet. It's kind of strange because I had muted the audio in the game, but apparently I had muted it in Discord too, so that was strange. But yeah, I would say for the best aspect, I would say it's the openness of the environment, but more so the scale at which they could actually put certain things in. My comfort is knowing that they have as much as the core features and the foundation in, because the thing is, you can have so many ideas, you can have so much theory crafting, but if you don't have these things in the game, then how scalable can you really make it? How stable can you make it when you put in those features to suit that scale? Because they have this huge scope, but it's having that reinforcement, knowing that when you put all these things in, based on your calculations, they're supposed to work properly, right? So my comfort is knowing that as they develop the game, that those core aspects can actually satisfy that openness that they're aiming for the game to become. In terms of the worst aspect, it's something that it irks me, but it's not something that we could actually get around until we get closer to the release, and that's the bugs. Of course, it's going to be a roller coaster. It's true that it's stable, compared to previous patches, but I'm going to be a bit pessimistic and say that things may get worse again. Who knows? Maybe I could be wrong. I hope that I am, but I have this joke that I sometimes make that closer to the period of server meshing, especially when we get server meshing, things may actually be pretty bad. So that's just my gripe, an unavoidable gripe, but I think arguably an understandable one. That it's going to be a roller coaster until we get closer to the release.
You guys with your deep answers and your rock and roll music.
Philosophical.
For me, let me get down. I got this bright starlight shining in on my screen. Yeah, that was better.
I get to stand right shadow there.
I don't know. For me, if somebody asked me what's the best and worst thing, it would just happen to depend on how many referrals that I have at a time. But no, I'd say it's the game we've all been waiting for. You can wake up on an alien planet, go find some futuristic food that's not in pill form, take an elevator to a hangar and board a really dope ship, then go live your space life how you want, whether it's fighting pirates, being a space trucker, sabotaging a comms array, whatever you want to do it's out there, or will be out there at some point, and I don't think it gets no better than that. But I mean, if I'm honest, on the rusty dusty side of things, it's there's the obvious stuff, the technical stuff, the bugs and all that, but for me it's just not everything is there.
Oh dear.
Oh.
What just happened there?
What happened?
So about that stability, right?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah. There it is. Oh boy.
Oh, that was dope.
Oh boy.
That was dope.
The game didn't like your answer.
Yeah, I guess not, man. I guess
I'm
not.
about to ruin this whole guy's career.
I know, right? Oh man. Oh, yep. Okay, there wasn't nothing outside my have when I opened the door. That was great. As I'm explaining the bad things about it, they happen.
It's like, yeah, well, watch this.
It felt offended.
No, I was gonna say it's the weight, because since CIG is so transparent about what's supposed to be in the game, they have a roadmap. It's not exact. They gotta cut some. Whoa, I'm getting a slideshow now. They gotta cut some things and delay them, but the fact that we know, which is good, also means that and you're waiting on it. Like me knowing about the Banu Merchant Man and being able to buy it, and I have no idea when that thing is gonna come out. For me, it's the waiting. I hate it. It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah,
man.
it's one of those aspects that it's pretty unique to almost everybody, even for those who probably would have tested alpha games before, whatever it may be. It's I would say it truly is pretty unique still. Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, so I'm gonna claim that
The wait is probably the toughest thing, yeah.
it is, man.
Especially if you backed early, right? If you backed early in 2012, or 2013, or even 2014, 15, the expectations that were kind of laid out for you are not the expectations that we have today, right? Where a lot of us are pretty much like, all right, well, I could be patient. They're working on server meshing. Physicalized inventory is gonna be cool. All these things, but if you had back then and you don't follow the project super closely, or I don't know, even loosely follow it, it's kind of hard to be like, all this and they haven't finished one star system yet, right? So that's why you hear a lot of that stuff, is it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But if you follow it, it makes a lot more sense than if you don't. So yeah, but it doesn't make it easy though. It doesn't make it easy to wait.
Based on that though, Twerk, I'm very curious about something, because I think you started off pretty early, right? I think you started off in 2014 or so, or earlier.
Yeah, I think I backed in 13 and started streaming more in 14.
Right. Wait, did I just call you twerk?
Yeah, you did.
You see, this is exactly what I meant. So, oh god,
This
what
is
just happened there?
everything bad.
Did the ship?
The
I
ship
can hear
has
you
just
in
flown
game,
a
by the way.
hangar.
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you that, Cal. Turn off your in-game mic.
Right.
Oh, the ship broke.
Yeah. We're gonna end up on
spawned
an
in a
Aurora
hangar.
by the time we get on the ship.
Is somebody rolling a cart around?
That might be me, yeah.
Wow, look at this thing. I guess that don't work. You think it'd be same if I responded?
Maybe. I don't know.
Wow, I've never seen. Have you guys ever seen anything like this?
No.
No. And I've also didn't really ever see what happened to the 890 back there. I don't know what happened, but
That's actually kind of normal. You get out of quantum travel and sometimes you just explode.
I haven't seen that
Casual
since.
Thursday.
And man,
You could see
my
it was
God,
just
what-
weird.
Wow. This game is angry at us. Holy crap.
All right, just whatever the good things are about the game. We're only going to talk about the good things. We promise.
Whoa. I've never just been randomly murdered by this game like that. That felt cold. Even the sound was different when I died.
oh, you died too? I thought it was just me.
No, it just
No, we
murdered
all
all
did.
of
It was
us.
like a massive explosion. Yeah.
You think hopping the servers will help? This is new
it
territory
could.
for me.
Yeah, I think we could switch to another server.
All right, let's
Yeah,
do
hurry.
that. Main menu.
Never seen that before.
That was wild, man. Well, speaking of all these ships, man, I got a big broken one right there. To me, one of the biggest things to keep folks engaged and motivated to keep playing, well, not just this game, but any game, is earning and unlocking new stuff. And Star Citizen is famous, or infamous, however you want to look at it, for the players just devouring ships, man, just buying up everything, buying up ships left and right. So when the game is finally out of the alpha state and we're spending UEC and not AUEC, and folks have already purchased the ships that they want, do you guys think they've already separated themselves from half of the experience? Let's start off with Carl. Or not?
Might have lost him again. Yeah, looks like he's in the other channel. Gotta drag him in.
Oh, okay. All right, Salty. Did you catch that?
Oh, I caught it. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that I think I got my name for. I was like super okay with them selling the original like 5 ships, and they're gonna put out more ships and this so on. But again, I don't think anybody expected things to take this long, and that includes CIG, and the ship sales are really important to keep the project going. But I always go back to, I think it was 2018 CitizenCon. Chris Roberts says, the ships are your main form of progression. And I don't think that's the case anymore. We see there being reputation put in the game, and they talked about how ships may be locked behind reputation and weapons and certain things. I think the direction they're going in is very different than that. But I also feel that the 890 jump we're riding in, right? That should be this like incredible achievement. And when you see somebody flying it, I felt like you should go, wow, that guy earned that. And
Yeah.
like, you don't get that from this game. So we're going to need something like that in the game for me personally. I mean, that's the way I like to play video games, but it also needs to not be, we got to remember it's 2021 too. Like the range of age of people that are gaming is not just young kids that don't have jobs, right? So there's this balance that they have take, but I absolutely feel that players are taking somewhat of an experience away from themselves in Star Citizen because of the idea of not starting at zero. Because even the game now, if you start with an Aurora and try to earn money and stuff like that, it's actually quite enjoyable, given the state of the game not being that good, right?
Yeah, I have to agree with that, man. Because like, people be laughing at me sometimes for hopping in Aurora, but I be like, man, that's probably the best way to play the game when you got all these ships. Hop back in the starter joint, make the move upward.
I'm dying to be able to reset an account, so I don't have I have 3 accounts, 2 of them that were starting with nothing, and I just want to reset those completely, and we're not even really allowed to. I'm kind of praying for a wipe.
Yeah. A lot of people are. What about you, Space?
I've been listening to the guy's answer, and I'm in agreement with Salt, but at the same time, I feel like whatever we're thinking of right now in terms of end game gameplay, there's got to be something beyond that, because at this point, the scale of the game, I don't know how to put this into words, but I feel like working towards reputation or working towards ships is limited in the scale of what this game is.
Are we all at the main menu?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You can hear me, right?
Yeah. We can hear you now.
Okay,
all right. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Space. I mean,
I was going to say that it feels like it's kind of limited in the terms of the scale in this game now. I mean, they haven't even touched on base building, and then the idea of the amount of systems that they want to have at some point. It might not be 100, but it is going to be dozens, I imagine. And I'm just trying to think of what the gameplay is going to look like in, say, 6 years, when people are still jumping into this game, but the game is actually functioning and they're actually working on additional content at that point. And I guess, when I think of people buying ships, yeah, they're definitely missing out on a lot of the gameplay that comes with earning those ships. But it's CIG's job really to build out a lot more systems to interest people, because they've created that problem themselves. So in short answer, yes, I agree with Salt there. I think they're kind of relieving themselves of some of that gameplay. And I think that that's kind of a problem, in that they originally were putting the ships out there as sort of the progression. But now, since they've made that problem, I expect them to fix it somehow. And that's probably a high expectation, but they're making the game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say they've overpromised and underdelivered, but they kind of have in a way. I don't mind waiting, or the way that they do it, as long as they're getting stuff done. I can see some progress being going. For me, because I figured that's one of the things you guys would say. So I'm trying to come at it from a different angle. I think the problem is going to be that people with everything in games, they get bored. And once you get bored, you start getting a little jaded, and you don't have nothing, especially right now with the amount of things that we have to do. You start becoming either one of a few things, either a pirate, which is fine, or a griefer, which is not so cool, or a philanthropist. I don't know if you guys play GTA Online, but when people would mod the game and they got tired of playing with all the toys that come with modding, they would either just grief people all day, or they would just drop just money bags all over the place, just giving money away, or they just spend their time trying to kill people, and that's the only thing that they have to do. I saw one of my buddies do that. We used to grind money together, and it would take us hours to build up product and then sell it and make money. But once he bought all the things that he wanted, all he did to spend his time just killing people that are trying to do the same thing that we were doing. So I don't know, man. They need something since we're already at end game ships, basically. I mean, minus the capital ships, but they need something for the person that is at the end game level as far as ship ownership. And I'm sure they'll have something. I don't know what that'd be besides just trying to acquire territory and, you know, raids and becoming the biggest org or whatever, you know, stretch goals personal stretch goals you can have for yourself. But we're gonna need it probably sooner than later.
Yeah, I think you know, when you look at a good bit of the MMOs out there, especially the MMORPGs, even if they aren't space related, you have to question, okay, what is the formula that they use, the quote unquote formula that is, for the whole end game experience, right? So what, you know, usually happens at the end when you've maxed out everything in World of Warcraft, or maxed out something in, well, Valheim when it makes more progress, or other games like, you know, Terra and Blade and Soul, because one of the worrying things that, you know, could ever happen to any developer is you get to that point, you know, a lot of your player base gets to that point and there isn't that much to do, and the player base eventually dwindles. That's exactly what happened to the Terra Online. I'm not sure, you know, if anyone ever played that game, that MMORPG before, but that's what happened. But then you have, you know, more sustainable, I would say sustainable games that aren't necessarily MMORPG, but they have that end game, I guess you could say, like Star Citizen, such as Ark, right? The whole point with Ark is, well, you can get dinosaurs and tame dinosaurs, but it has many aspects in it, I would say, that would keep you entertained, other than getting the strongest dinosaur in the game or as many dinosaurs. And I'm using dinosaurs to equate that to ships, right? Of course, I would say I wouldn't say, sustainable isn't the word, but the fact that they can die and you lose them, right, makes it add some more flavor to it. Of course, that's a controversial topic with Star Citizen, because, you know, we won't ever lose our ships, even if I recall correctly, even if we don't have, you know, insurance for those ships. At the same time, like, you know, you guys were saying, and I would touch on it in another way. You have the ships, but they definitely cannot be the end game, because the ships should be something that you can use as a tool to be able to get to what you really want to do. And what is that in Star Citizen? Well, the scope is so you can do anything, kind of like if you want to be a miner or a salvager, but getting the ships shouldn't be the aim at the end of the day. Being able to do something with the revenue that you get, or the materials or the resources that you get from that profession, by using the ships as a tool should be. So if you want to create some kind of, I don't know, I would stress the word, it may not be something as dramatic as that, but some kind of empire or something. But at the end of the day, the ships are used as the tool to get to that point, and not you know, the end game of what you want to get in the game.
Gotcha. Dinosaurs. So the dinosaurs are the ships in that game. I don't know why it's funny, but it kind of is.
Oh man.
So, all right, like, do you guys have a bloated fleet? Like, what's your fleets looking like?
Well, I'll go. Mine has always been a little scattered, because I backed back in like 2014, I think. I got a 325A and then sat on it for about a year. Didn't really play the game, but I saw a video for like a Saber Raven. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I seeked one out and bought one. And then I got a Terrapin because I wanted to be an explorer. And then I was kind of like, okay, this is a lot. I should stop. And then they showed the 100 series, and I got 2 of those. And then I was like, okay, I'm done. And so after that, I was kind of just referrals and gifted ships. So now my fleet's I consolidated some of it down, like referrals and stuff. And now I'm just rocking like a Carrack, Saber Raven, a couple fighters, I think, and then just a bunch of referral ships, really.
Okay. So
nothing big though. The Carrack and the Mercury Star Runner are my 2 main ships.
I love the Merc. The Merc is, I love that ship.
Yeah, it's my favorite ship.
What about you, Saltness?
Sorry, I was just putting on, because I know, just warning guys, there's definitely areas in the ship where there's no oxygen, so be careful.
Yeah, thanks for telling me that.
Putting a suit on.
Oh, still? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm gonna play it safe.
Yeah,
Is everybody in the ship?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm taking a quick look. I originally started out with a little bit more like combat stuff, so Super Hornet and Gladius and things like that. I have some referral ships. I don't have a lot of referrals because I don't like, if people ask to play, should I buy the game yet, I usually tell them it's probably not ready, because they're usually asking, is this game good? And it's not really where you would call it a game that most people would play if they were gonna compare it to anything else. But like, as far as like big stuff goes, I have a Carrack and I have a C2, but I don't have like 890 or Javelin or Idris. I didn't go that direction. I guess the biggest thing not in the game is the base building ship. I can't think of the name off the top of my head.
Pioneer.
Yeah, the Pioneer, yeah. So it's kind of bloated, but not too bad.
What about you, Killer Cow?
So that question and my answer is quite related to the previous discussion that we were having just now, because when I joined back in, similar to Mike, in 2014, I gradually pledged for ships and everything, and the question came to me at the end of 2016, I think, and I was like, when do I want to stop? Because my fear was getting to a point and, to be frank, not having that many things to work up to, because at the time they kept reiterating sometimes on, getting ships and everything and having a fleet is part of the quote unquote end game. Like, the Orion is the end game ship. The Reclaimer is the end game salvage ship. And I kept getting a little more thoughtful, and as a result, I told myself that as soon as I became conscious, as soon as I hit that point, I would say, okay, I will melt all of my ships, and I will literally use the store credit for subscription. And as a result, the only 2 ships that I have in my fleet, because I melted all of them, is just the Aurora MR and this Mustang Alpha that I won by participating in the Crocs Cup. Because at this point, I'm still not sure what their whole endgame design is. So as a result, that's pretty much that's my fleet. And particularly, I started to melt everything when they first introduced the ability to buy ships in game, because I thought, okay, at least I can kill two birds with one stone. I can analyze how if a player were to join the game, I can analyze, all right, how does it feel to get the most basic ship, and how grindy it would feel, and also kind of set myself up to the point where, okay, just in case something happens, at least I don't have that many ships. I only have like 2 of the most basic ships. So that's my fleet, and I found it pretty ironic that you asked that question right after having that discussion, because it's directly tied to it.
I respect you for that.
Yeah, it was hard, because the thing is, especially if you want to test certain aspects of the game, say mining. Well, of course, mining came in before we got the ability to purchase ships, but imagine wanting to test mining, and you gotta work your way up, and at the time we didn't even have persistence yet, but I kind of tried to control myself, and well, I guess controlling isn't the right word for it, but I'm trying to secure myself as much as possible, because we still don't really know what the whole end game aspect is. And I thought, if I keep pushing too much, I may not be able to and quote unquote enjoy certain things, certain aspects when it came to getting a ship that I want. If it's dying a lot, or by doing a certain mission, that mission is really high paying, or stuff like that. Of course, once again, it ties into the whole thing where we honestly do not want getting a really large ship to be the end goal. But at that point in time, I honestly wasn't sure. So I just told myself, okay, I'm going to melt everything, and the store credit that I had, I'll just put it back to subscription. And I think this year will be this year would be the last year that I would be using subscriptions for, because everything else is just coming to $0. So we'll see what happens next year.
We lose Dig?
Yeah, he's not.
Oh, my bad. I had the mic on mute.
Oh.
But, nah, I wanted to do the same thing. That was one of my early plans, was to melt everything down and then start from scratch. But I got so many referrals and that I've upgraded that I don't even know how many ships I got. I got all these like ships I bought, referral ships that I've upgraded. I got you got all the loaners. Some of them come with 2 ships, and then I got ships that are sitting in my hangar for giveaways, and I have no idea. I maybe have like 10 ships or something like that. But oh, did we lose somebody?
Mike, did you die?
I died.
I just saw you.
Yeah.
I just saw you just collapse on the ground.
No, this is what I'm talking about. That bottom area, I don't know why. I've walked past there 3 times, and it's tried to kill me every time.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
My med pen wouldn't come out this time. But I'll be flying over there. I'll meet you guys.
Oh, well, I was gonna go back over there, pick you up, and grab the 890. It should
okay.
be
That'll
ready to go now.
Nice.
Wait, is this not the right deck? I don't know. I would like to be able to liquidate them. I don't think I will be able to unless CIG hooks me up or something. But that would be lovely.
I understand you with the getting confused from all the extra ships, the loaners and stuff. I have no clue where some of my ships are coming from. They don't make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't own the ships that would have them be loaners. They're just sitting in my hangar for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, then you got duplicate ships. I know you guys got duplicate ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do wonder though, when we get the ability to sell ships, how would CIG design that for, especially if we own a particular ship and we could, sell that ship that we own by, through pledges, would that, no, and when I say sell, I mean in-game.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be counted as a lost ship and we have to file insurance? That part I don't entirely get. Or will we not have the ability to sell pledged ships in the game then?
I'm sure
don't
there's
think
some
we
kind of
would.
distinction between being able to sell the asset that's in the game versus the asset that you spent real money on.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's got to be.
probably be more for them to do to make that happen. I don't know though. That sounds dangerous, but at the same time, I mean, you're gonna have a lot of people who regret buying the ships they bought, and they're gonna want something to do with it. Maybe they can rent them out to people, but they're gonna want to profit from them or use them in some way. And God knows you're not gonna be able to use every one of your 40 ships. Sorry.
Yep. I was thinking about that, renting out the ships, but they've already got a rental service in the game, so you'd have to make it so cheap that it just wouldn't make sense to go to the rental service, or something that the rental service doesn't carry. Like right now, the Caterpillar isn't available to rent.
I mean, at the same time, the rental business can actually work, at least for players who don't have a particular reputation. Because the thing is, I mean, and this is something I know Mike is big on, the whole reputation system. If you were to, if certain types of weapons or subsystems or subcomponents were hidden behind a reputation wall for a particular company, then and that player, they have to perhaps, work their way up to purchasing that, getting through the reputation to purchasing that those sets of components, and perhaps renting a ready-made or already put together ship to do a particular difficult mission. can actually work. You can, make a rental business and say, okay, these ships are already outfitted with these components that you can't really get until you grind some hours to to finally have the reputation to buy that component. And I could always rent it to you. Ship is already pretty capable of doing this really difficult mission. You just need either a full crew if it's a multi-crew ship, or a single seat fighter. You just need the credits, and yeah,
that's true, isn't it? Because even if a rental is available through in game, it's not going to be stacked up with nice components.
Yeah, you can't customize it.
I mean, I think that's the most important thing to the game going forward, and that goes back to our original conversation, is the components, not the ships, is probably going to be the way that we start progressing and are able to feel tangible progress in the game, right? But I think part of the problem with the current game is that the components don't give you this feeling of change. Like, I've purchased this new thing and my ship is that much more. Unless you talk about quantum drives, then you really feel it. Everything other than that is like these slight min-max differences.
Yeah.
Besides the mining lasers.
There's a meta, obviously, but in every other aspect of the game, you don't really feel the difference very much.
You're right about the mining lasers, though. Man, them things make a world of difference.
Yeah, and I think that just shows that that's the one thing that they really focused on, and that's why it's slightly different. But I agree, honestly, as much as people don't want to see something like Star Citizen do stuff like what you see these looter shooters do. I guess it is still a thing in MMOs like World of Warcraft, I believe, but having just items that are just a little bit far out in terms of their effects, these quote unquote legendary kind of items that are just actually really cool to get. Maybe they don't last forever. Maybe they break down and you have to find another one. But I think you've spoken about that in some of your talks, Salty Mike, just better items that are worth finding.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we have to see what they want to do ultimately with wear and tear, right? I don't think the current system of the way the game works, especially with insurance right now, is the intended plan, which is ship explodes, your ship, you use the terminal, you claim it back, and every component that you had on it is there again.
Yeah.
I don't, if it is, maybe they're damaged or something. I don't know. But the idea of having to maintain these components and giving them, I don't know. There's this really big balance that it's CIG's job to figure out, not ours.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of reasons to play the game, and the reasons to play the game, like Space Tomato, you mentioned it earlier, is like, one of the cool things about the game is that they do give us the ability to kind of do whatever we want and make the game fun for ourselves in many of these ways. But I think it's also CIG's job to give us the tools to have reasons to play the game without it feeling like some other games that are maybe a little bit too grindy, like World of Warcraft that was mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you mentioned the what's it called? Where your components start breaking down. What's the word they use for it? Degradation.
Wear and tear.
Degradation. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I forgot all about it. Has that even been an issue for anybody? Like, to where you need to check your degradation?
No, it's pretty slow. I would say it's too slow sometimes.
But but they did just say something about that. I believe in the last Star Citizen Live, they said that they've made it so that heat is no longer a short-term effect; it's a long-term effect. So I'm guessing we might start seeing heat factor again, because they did that a while ago. They kind of put that in, and then it sort of didn't really matter. So maybe we'll see that start mattering again soon.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys are looking forward to?
Oh yeah.
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 I mean, that makes everything matter, right? It makes when your ship isn't running perfectly at all times, you're going to start to recognize how you fly it.
I also think that the whole physical damage system is hopefully going to give the ship components a lot more of a distinct feeling, because as you guys were just talking about, you don't really notice much of a difference between the quantum drives, the mining heads. You may sometimes notice a difference if you're using an industrial shield versus a military, but the wear and tear, the physical damage, and more so also, at least in the combat sense, the time to disable as opposed to time to kill, that may actually widen and give us a larger range toward the capability of some components. How long will it take for a certain component to be damaged versus its performance output, if that time to disable more so replaces the faster concept of time to kill right now, where that time to kill is more so dependent on having just an HP or health pool.
I think what you're talking about also kind of it reminds me of utility mounts, and the fact that utility mounts could completely change the role of a ship, right? I believe they said the utility mounts or the scanners also go on utility mounts or something like that. I thought they said something about being able to change out the terrapin scanner and that not being a great idea, but it would be possible. I'd have to go back and find that just to make sure, but those kinds of things also would allow you to specialize a ship quite a bit. Oh, it opened.
I think we've also forgot about subcomponents too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We'll have to see how that ends up playing out and how much they matter. That's probably where it feels like they don't matter that much right at the moment, but
it seemed like they were almost leaning towards the idea that the component itself is kind of like just the carrying case for the subcomponents, which actually make the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that would be, I don't know how I feel about that, but I think it would be cool to have more variety in the components that we're using besides just getting a different component. So that it could be good, but judging by how the mining subcomponents are going, they haven't
get me started on that.
yeah, they're kind of just min-maxing tools at this point.
You guys use those?
No, I use the active ones.
Yeah, I'm very scared to invest in
ones
the
make no sense.
passive.
The newest ones make no sense.
Yeah, I don't really use them much, no.
It's like, that's been like my crusade over the last, I don't know, maybe 6 months, is just trying to get somebody to hear me and say, hey, you guys keep putting in these like subcomponents and new lasers and characteristics to this mining stuff, but in reality, the change that would feel the most impact and make those items matter is if you focused on the things that you're mining, how close together they are, how many of them are in one area, the different characteristics that they could have, how large they are, how much material is in them, because there's 0 point to use a mole over a prospector. If you had 4 people, you should use 4 moles, or 4 prospectors instead of 4 moles, because you have the same amount of lasers. Size 2 versus size 1 lasers don't have any more power over the other, just more range. Range doesn't matter. It's like this whole crazy thing, and I think I got through to them. At the very least, the idea of having rocks be less evenly spread out and more clustered together is something, at the very least, they prototyped, but I don't know how far we got there. The guy who did it happened to be in Discord and was asking some questions about it, and he said he was going to try it. We'll see. But the idea of the newest mining components were just pointless.
It seems like the
I'll
mole
chime
is
in on that.
like a social tool right now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna kind of agree with what you were saying in that I think they are focusing on the wrong thing when it comes to mining. I do like that they're continuing to try and add depth to it, That's
Yeah.
that's a plus in my book. But like you said, it would be cool if they focused on the actual stuff we're mining, like where it is, how it shows up, why why it's logical. I always assumed that they couldn't do that because they didn't have the persistent streaming, the iCache going on. But I was thinking it would be phenomenal if, and it sounds like they're doing this with the gadgets, but create other aspects of mining that don't have to do with the laser, create different parts of that gameplay besides just the one part that we already know. Much like how with medical, we're going to have a healing laser, sure, but I'm expecting them to have other parts of medical that we can do, like maybe the crafting of the medicines or the drugs or something like that. But it is kind of, I'm hoping the gadgets will be good, but it'd be nice to see them focus on more aspects of mining than just the laser itself.
Agreed.
Speaking of mining, what was weird to me was that the new rock. What's it called? The rock with the bucket on the side to sit in?
Yeah, the DS.
The rock BS. The rock BS.
I was like,
I mean, talk about something pointless, right?
It was I didn't get that one, man. I had a question mark on my head with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it could probably be fun, but like with the amount of rocks out there and the value for them, I just don't see it being something viable to make some money with.
I could see it coming out like years after the game has launched and they're looking for more ideas to just get more people playing together, and they've already got everything filled out. But I was just like, why take up the manpower for an actual useful ground vehicle or even, another type of vehicle for that?
I could be wrong, but I feel like it was one of those vehicles that they, instead of planning the gameplay for it first, they decided to put in the ship and then plan the gameplay after. Because I think, if I recall, it was a complement to the rock, and of course we already had the game design for the rocks, or maybe they, like most of the ships, they thought, okay, we'll have the game design of the profession, and then we'll make the ship to suit that profession. But it felt like it was the opposite for the Rock DS, and it was just something that they thought, okay, we'll figure it out as we develop the mining experience more. So it just felt like it was that they put in the ship first, and then they decided to later on to see how they can extend the mining experience to suit the Rock DS, which is so I feel like that's what they did as opposed to the original thing, which is I
think if you buy
the only
rock.
advantage it has is if they ever have cave mining where it's not like the hand mineable rocks and not the current caves that we have now where you drive in a little bit and then you have to get out, which is kind of weird. The laser has way more range of motion, so like mining a rock above you on the ceiling would be something that you could do, right? That would be the advantage of that. But besides that, they tried to like add extra cargo to it and make it seem like it was valuable in that way. And it just, those are the moments where my name comes true, and I start to say things like, do you guys play your game? Do you know how we play? Do you know how we play your game, or are you just kind of envisioning in your head how you would like us to play it, right? Because the idea of being able to take the storage inside of any mining vehicle or any cargo vehicle for that matter and moving it around is I think is one of the coolest aspects, right? You're out mining and you have a cargo hauling team and they come and they pick it up. We did this with the original rocks. It was amazing. You would take the inventory out and put it into another rock, make a box and sell it. It was like this whole operation that we had. It was so cool. And just adding more cargo to one of these things, it doesn't change the fact that you're just going to empty it anyway. So the amount of cargo space doesn't matter. If you're going to sell some new vehicle that has some differences, I don't think that would be the thing I would try to sell a vehicle on, I guess.
All right, hold on, man. What's up with the jackets, man? Did y'all have a meeting that I wasn't?
No,
aware
I literally just saw that and opened my Moby Glass. I was like, this isn't. I don't. Why are we matching?
I'm a big fan of the Invictus event, man.
Yeah, I love it.
Love those ship sales.
You guys
Now I'm
with your members
self-conscious.
only
I'm gonna
jackets.
change it.
Here we go. No,
Oh my goodness.
I'm styling now.
Wilding on them, styling on them. So I'm sitting here messing with the camera, which kind of brings me to another question, a topic I was going to bring up, and this is kind of on the content creation side. The biggest thing that I would love for them to add as a content creator is an upgrade to the camera suite, because like this one right now just ain't getting it for me. Like I can't do the moves, and like if you want a dolly or a truck shot, it's at one speed. I can't slow it down or speed it up. That's my gripe. Do you guys have anything in particular that you, from the content creation side, that you would love for them to add?
The camera system is god awful. It drives me nuts, man. It drives me insane. I mean, I understand why it's the way it is. It has to be connected to the character, but the fact that it is modeled as like a camera on the end of a stick, and that stick collides with everything in the game, you know, I'm sure you've been sitting there getting a shot, not doing anything because you don't need to. Camera's completely still, and then an NPC walks through it, and it ruins the whole shot.
Oh yeah.
It's just.
Get out my shot, man. It moves the camera.
Yeah.
You don't bump into the camera, man.
Yeah. So when it comes to content creation, at least, I think that's probably one of the biggest things for me.
So
I would also like if we got more music in the fan kit. They gave us the fan kit and they said, okay, this is the music you can use for your stuff, but there's only 4 songs.
Oh, is that right?
I'd be happy to pay for the rest. I mean, the way I understand it, these are the songs that I know I won't get in trouble for on YouTube at any point in the future. I'm not sure if that's for sure or not, but I've heard that that's kind of the case. And I'd like to know that there are more songs that we could use from the game.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants some Pedro in their videos.
Exactly.
Pedro make your video hot, man. What about you, Kyle? I know you don't do too many videos, but I know you got some opinion on this, Cal.
Yeah, so I'm going to touch on the camera system also, because I remember Forrest Stefan, he had spoken about improving the same camera system that we have. That was about 2.5 years ago. And so I know that, they were working on it, but I'm not entirely sure where they've reached, because I mean, most likely they would need, something, and I'm sorry if you're hearing the background or whatever, but they would need, some kind of improved camera system for, say, Squadron 42, particularly for the developers. If they're making, if they need to improve on those camera shots and those cinematics. So I'm going to assume that whatever work that they're doing also, that improvement to the camera navigation system, for anybody, is going to come sooner, hopefully, rather than later.
Man, I hope so. What about you, Mike?
I'm gonna be a little different. Like, yeah, the camera's pretty bad, but for me personally, I think the best. This is obviously like such a stretch and such an unreasonable ask. But for me, the most important thing is that sense of progression that we have been talking about a lot. Because I think then you can create a story in the game, right? Like, hey, I started from here and I achieved this, and that could be a video or a stream or something. So from a content creator side, that's like everything that matters to me. But I think you're talking about more either in the short term or from the actual like content like creation thing. And I guess for me, it would be maybe a better cinematic camera of some kind, or in the short term, maybe a little bit simpler to play with friends and have them help out. Oh, here's one. I'll give it to you. Not having my name on the menu when I join a server. That would be really cool if
that'd be
you
great.
just, announce everywhere I go and every moment, and anybody who like legitimately like they're sniping, and whatever they tell you they're not, it's total crap. They look in the menu, they see you're there, they could take 2 seconds look at your screen and know exactly where you are, or them just knowing that you're on the menu is enough in some cases, right? And that stuff is so annoying.
You just start getting voice call,
yeah, get the voice call, and then they get your marker.
The
and
voice calls.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you
Just
should be able to at
constantly.
least blank out or like kill the voice calls. I don't do a ton of streaming, so I don't get like stream sniped. Watch us get stream sniped now, but
I don't get sniped
say-
that much. I don't get sniped that much, but I don't see the major advantage of having all the names in the list. If this is like a real sim type game, you should be interacting with players face to face. We all know that you can click on them, add them to your friends list, and all things like that when you're interacting with each other right there. And you can call them ship v ship if you're within range. Like, I don't see the advantage of having it over getting rid of it and protecting players from getting harassed, because this isn't just a streamer thing. Just in general, players get harassed for many reasons.
Okay. Yeah, I could dig it. I could dig that. Hey, I'm gonna ask this next question while we walk to the bar of the ship. If I can get out my seat.
We could just stay on the table here.
Actually, you know what? I mean, we're over the hour mark now. Let's get into some of the things that you guys brought with you.
Ooh. We already
Sure.
did for me a little bit.
Did we? Oops, I'm going the
Yeah,
wrong way.
I was gonna really touch on for me personally, I was gonna touch on how about this? I'll go into what do you guys think about it's an alpha. Like, it is, but it's also not. And I always argue, like, I always come at the game from a perspective of like, yeah, okay, they're building out things, and I totally understand. Oh, I went the wrong way. I totally understand that they don't want to have to redo work, and I totally
Followed you
respect
down
that.
here.
I'm sorry, Space. I'm sorry. But for me, I was talking about it today. Like, I want to have the feeling of accomplishment in the game, and I want the items in the game to matter. So for me, I'm super excited for something like looting, but only if I'm not just looting water and med pens all the time, right? And then someone like in my stream chat was like, it's an alpha, right? And like, yeah, I do, but I also feel like part of the process here is designing and having an idea of how we're going to play the game as well, right? Like, yeah, they're working on server meshing, and they're working on this, and they're working on that, but having some idea of what a good item will be, I think in the 9th year of development is not unreasonable to be like, hey man, maybe we should know what these things are like, or start focusing on them at the very least.
I feel you there. I can't be mad
But
at that.
Mike is alpha.
Yeah,
It's Yo,
I am
already with the abs
guilty.
and chest showing.
I am guilty of the it's alpha, and I also still get your approach. I don't think on any of these topics I'll ever swing one way completely. I do lean more towards just telling people to like just get out of here. Like, don't play it. It is an alpha. It's not really worth playing for most people right now.
Agreed. Yeah.
Let us suffer through it, whatever needs to be done, and then we'll tell you when it's ready to be played. But I also, like, I think I like recognized something you just said from one of your recent videos, but it was but you said something along the lines of just jack up the price of a single object and put it in a box in a derelict, and just say, hey, here's some expensive stuff you can find. It's a super simple fix, and I won't say that I know how easy it would be to do, but those kinds of things would definitely be nice if we got, say, 4 of those things per year.
They did that already by accident. And you remember the envelopes?
Yeah.
The red envelopes for I forgot the name of the holiday in game. They had a box of those. And if you found that box, it was worth 125k, and it was at the new derelicts that you would go down, and there was NPCs. And it was like every 1 in every 3 it showed up basically. And I saw it on stream, and one of the devs was watching, and they were like, "Oh, that's not supposed to be there," and took it out. But that was like one of the best experiences I had in the game. It was like, holy, whoa, I found this thing, and look at how much it's worth. That's amazing. And then they took it away because it wasn't supposed to be there. But you're right. Those things are what could be the I don't know, like a jackpot moment, right? Like it's I don't want to compare them to loot boxes, but in some way you go down, you complete a mission that's a lot of the missions we have in the game are somewhat repetitive, but if the reward isn't, maybe that is kind of what makes it worth doing, and then in turn makes it worth testing. So the like coming back to the it's an alpha argument is, I'm sorry, but flying around the game and taking screenshots with your friends isn't necessarily helping the development of Star Citizen the game. So the reasons to play the game are always going to be really important, because if we're constantly playing the game, they have a lot more information to go off of how we're playing it. Where I feel like a lot of their stats are skewed in a weird way at the moment because nobody really plays the game yet. Does that make sense?
Hopefully those are stats that they're reading and understanding then.
I hope.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Nobody's
know.
doing
I know
anything.
In space, you come from like a project management and side of things, so that's kind of why I wanted to bring that up. Is I almost just want to get shot down and just be like, yeah, okay, I'll keep waiting, you know, which is definitely the right answer. But I still feel like, can we get a focus in this area a little bit, even if it's just very simple things like that box you mentioned, you know?
I feel like no matter what angle you do come at it from, and I put all of my patience into trying to understand what they're going through, because I'll do something as simple as make a freaking YouTube video and I'll be like, oh crap, this was supposed to be out 2 days ago. Oh no, the sound is wrong. I'm just gonna have to start all over. Like, it's the simple things that make you realize how complicated things are. And so I'm like, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Like, things are not going how you expect them to. And also I want to say that right now, what we hear about, I know a lot of people probably watched my video from earlier this year where I was super optimistic about some of the things they were saying and all this stuff. I will continue to say that the stuff that they are talking about now, even though some of it is near identical to things we heard 2 or 3 years ago, like first per se, salvage being on the roadmap, it's different now. It really is. And I think we're at a point, because actual important things that they were talking about are being finished. 3 years ago, they talked to us about things like that they were going to have to do persistence per se, or that they would have to do, gosh, what was it? OCS, stuff like that. And that stuff got finished and it was done, but those weren't long-term goals that they had been speaking of for 4 years, 5 years, that we were finally seeing actually finished. Like iCache is being put into the game. If they're lying about that in the monthly report,
tier 1, right?
Yeah. But if they're lying about iCache being put in the game, we'll know by the end of the year, most likely. So it's like, and right now is either put up or shut up.
Yeah, it may not sound like it, but for those reasons that you're saying, is those things actively being in development, I've never been more positive in the excitement that I have for the somewhat near future of Star Citizen, where it always felt like a dream and now it sort of feels like it could be a reality. And that's why I've just been like super hard on like, can we make the items matter? Because you can put all those systems in, but if the things that in the inventory system that was super exciting. If you didn't see, there was armor in those inventories that you could loot.
Yeah.
Like that stuff. If those armors don't make a difference in your experience, which we know some of them really do, they're really good, the hot and cold armor, stuff like that, then why work on the system? I think in tandem, you should have, like, just throw an armor in there. It can look like something else, but have 45% damage reduction, 55, you could do those, just fudge a few numbers, make those things valuable, and I think that would be really cool. So yeah, I've never been more positive. It sounds like I'm really negative, probably, but for exactly the reasons you're talking about, I'm hyped.
I don't think
it's hard to keep calm,
Just real quick,
I don't
want to mention that mention to everybody watching. We got a rule in here that we don't acknowledge the chat while we're doing this. That's just for this type of stream. So I just want to make sure y'all know that nobody's trying to ignore anybody on purpose. But I will open it up at the end. I don't know if these guys want to hang around, they can, but we'll open up to start talking to the chat at the end. But for now, we're just gonna chop it up like this.
Sure.
That's my PSA. Oh, I'm looking at Salty. I see all you need is the beard now, man. You got your face just about right, man. You just need some facial hair, man.
Hey, that should be a topic. Where are the beards?
Oh
gosh,
man.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on hair.
Right, yes. we probably both on the same page on that one, man.
Yes, man. Gosh. I was just talking to Meyer about that the other day. Just the hair. You guys remember? You remember when they were bringing Tisha Pacheco into the game?
Dreadlocks.
And she was, they were like, we're finishing up on the hair tool. It's almost done. If we don't get it in the first patch when she comes in, we'll get it in the next one. She still doesn't have hair. I mean, that's not important. I don't care about it.
He did mention it in that video this afternoon.
Today, really? Okay, yeah. See, I need to watch that.
It's
I wouldn't
pretty
mind
informative.
talking about that because I haven't gotten to watch it yet.
A brief mention, but he mentioned it.
Okay.
Space,
I
would you
don't
bring,
remember.
man?
Oh yeah. So I got a question out of left field. I like to do speculation questions. It's a little exciting. So I was thinking about, what was I thinking about? The topic's been popping up lately. The game is big. The systems are much bigger than Stanton. I've seen it in a couple different places, and I was thinking to myself about travel times and all that stuff and how people are going to play this game. And it came up in my head. I was thinking a good question to ask people is, are you the type of person who's going to live permanently in that one system, really know that system, and go out on like voyages and expeditions to other systems? Or are you the kind of person who's going to be more nomadic, live on your ship, spend the equal amount of time in different places? And why would that be your approach?
I think if we were to go back to some of their responses, CIG's response to that is they want to make travel matter, right? So to be able to, especially when we have these large systems, for them to keep the scale of those large systems, the points of interest, those large distances between some of these, these large distances between these points of interest, they will have to have, a lot of detail and purpose of, to actually hang around certain planets or so, or if you have certain things to do in your ship, they'll have to put in, that kind of aspect if you want to be that kind of nomad. So I would say that, I personally would really like to do both. And as a result, because I definitely have been, following that whole discussion of persons, wondering about the whole, because Stanton honestly is a relatively small system when we're looking at distance. I even saw a post somewhere where someone was saying, okay, starting off the game when it's fully released in a small ship may not actually be a good idea for you. And I wouldn't agree with that, because again, there is always a purpose to getting, to starting off the game with a small ship. But to answer your question, if I can remember your question because I've been rambling, is I would say that I'd be interested in doing both, but it begs the question of, the amount of elements for whatever framework that they have, ultimately speaking, that would be needed to solidify the quality of what exists around the planet, or what exists that you can do as a nomad. You know, what are the missing elements? And that is something that I've been very curious about. If they have an established framework, just as how we're getting to a point where they may have a framework for what a star system may have, or the ideal framework, if they have a framework of what the scope, you know, where the scope lies for the game. Because if you don't have a framework for a game in terms of gameplay, in terms of locations, etc., then you wouldn't really know what is missing, right? You wouldn't be able to really define fun, especially for a video game. So yeah, that again, the answer is both, but my curiosity is what is missing and what they would like to put in terms of their framework if they have one.
See, I thought you was gonna have a different answer, because your boy had told me that your plan was to go off and live with the alien race, and you had learned the languages. What language did you actually learn? Which one was it?
Yeah, it's Xi'an, the Xi'an language. I haven't gone back to it in quite some time, but yeah, I'm actually very, very interested in the xenolinguistics of the Xi'an culture and everything. But yeah.
Did you learn it enough to like where you could say a sentence?
Yeah, I learned it enough where I could have held a conversation, but that was like as soon as the whole language was first released, I spent a couple months to 3 months just learning it. But it's been a while, so I've forgotten most of it.
I'm still having trouble learning a language of a country I've been living in for 2 years, man. That's pretty good for a couple months.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I wouldn't stay in one system like that. I can't imagine the bulk of people would make one system. Maybe people will have a system as their home and they'll make their way back there, but I can't imagine where like you just learn that system and you work it, and that's most of your gameplay. Or at least I can't imagine that being, because like all the different stuff out there, everybody has to have a little bit of exploration in the body. On Elite Dangerous, not everybody was an explorer. I wasn't an explorer, but from time to time, you got to get out there and take a peek around, man. There's more to see than it's like people that don't leave their hometown. Like, I don't see how they do it, man. There's so much more to see.
You actually, that's a good point you brought that up, because that's part of why I asked the question. In Elite Dangerous, I was the kind of explorer who stayed in the bubble, but I would go out on voyages, and I'd go out and then I'd come back. Whereas I know some explorers, they go out and they don't come back for years because they don't consider that their home. They spend all their time just traveling. And so I wonder to myself, like, is that going to be a thing in Star Citizen? Are people going to do that?
It better.
Yeah.
Like, for me, the ships that make me feel an emotion or some kind of like wow feeling is when you walk through the internal parts of a ship and go, I feel like I can live in this. And like the two ships that really stuck out for me were the Carrack and the Mole. Those felt like homes. Where like this feels like a hotel, right? But those feel like homes. And I don't know if that's how I'm gonna play the game. I really don't. But I feel like because of the way those two ships, there's something about it, and that idea, and especially how Kilradi was talking about it earlier, and I think this before we even started, that he logs out in the bed of his ship, and yeah, I think I might try to start doing that more often, even though it might be a little bit risky.
Be very careful.
I will. But to answer your question, I think I'm gonna do whatever I find to be interesting, and if that is what it needs, is to travel a lot and maybe live in your ship a bit, I do find that cool. That does tie into where everything having a meaning in the game matters. That's when it comes down to like, yeah, you need water, you need food, medical supplies, you need to carry these things, ammo, fuel, all that stuff really then begins to matter, right? And that's where the whole
get some FanDuel crypto,
right? That's where the whole Star Citizen experience starts to make sense, and the things that they're working on starts to make more sense when you put it in that context. That, hey, this is big and you're going to be out there, and there might not be a landing zone that you could reach.
Space.
At least not easily.
Oh, I want to get your answer, but first, I need to acknowledge that you walked in the captain's quarters with your bra on, man. You walked in rocking the bra, man. That was. I don't know. I wasn't ready for that. That was weird. I was like, wait, who is this?
It's my Thursday outfit.
That's your Thursday outfit. Just a bra at the club, standing in line for the club. It's cold, no coat on, just with your arms crossed.
I usually show up finishing up my cargo runs at the Hurston building like that.
Dig that. That's got to be relaxing then. But yeah. How would you answer that question?
I'm gonna be living everywhere. My favorite system, as far as lore goes, my favorite system is Ellis. But I want to be deep space. So my inspiration for my persona, the player I want to be, the end game that I want to do, is the Shadow Broker from Mass Effect. It's always been a very, very cool profile to me. A big ship that's out in the middle of nowhere that's just passing data and pulling some strings in the background and staying
we
hidden.
know who you are now.
Well, okay. I'll have a different account or something. But the idea of moving constantly and never really staying in one place for too long, while that could be an issue when it comes to things like reputation and stuff, I'm sure I'm hoping that they will have ways to get around that. You know, you stay in contact with the people that you trust. I feel like both piracy and data running, and probably cargo hauling as well, are going to require you to have contacts that are systems away, that you have to be able to still work on your reputation with. So that's something I'd love to be able to do.
Okay. Man, there's so many things that you can compare with Elite Dangerous. I know not everybody plays that game, but because my home in Elite Dangerous is Jameson, which is where, you know, once you reach an elite rank, you can go there, you can get discounts on every single component in the game. And it's just, I can't think of another reason not to be anywhere else for my home. Oops, am I moving it? Okay, I'm not. But it's not like I stay there. You know, you gotta go out and see the things, even though I think there's not a ton of, well, visually there's kind of some differences, but not meaningful differences in a lot of the places you can go in Elite Dangerous. But in Star Citizen, man, I can't wait. But you know what I've started to look at, because, you know, they've shown pictures for some of the moons that they've been working on. Actually, they're probably done by now because this was a long time ago. There was, like, for instance, I can't remember the name of the moon. They were like, well, we made it like this because we didn't want it to be Red Daymar. I think that as more and more systems come online, we're probably going to run into how different can one moon be from the next moon. I think we're about at max of how different they can be right now. Would y'all agree with that or no?
It would really depend on how large their individual assets are, because the larger it is, the more procedural and modular stuff that they could put together, right? Which, you know, makes me curious as to if they were to, you know, start accelerating the development of their star systems and planetary locations, if it's moons, planets, would they have enough individual assets that when they're creating and procedurally generating these systems, even with an art-driven touch to it, how different they would be. And again, that also goes back to the framework that I was talking about. You know, is this part of their framework? And because it also came into my mind when we saw, it was in an ISC where they first showed the trading, the trading development and division. It was an ISC about a couple months ago when they were first showing us Horizon. And well, yes, it's the same company, so you can't really say, okay, they run out of individual assets, and it kind of has to be, it's really similar to the training and development at the Lorville Business District. But going back to again to the same thing that you were talking about, it definitely depends on how many assets that they have in their library and how much more work that they would have to put into that library to be able to have more distinct locations, or more distinct assets. Because, for instance, the NPC archetypes, they will have to have a very large library to be able to, even when they're generating these archetypes for regular NPCs, it'll have to be large enough to, create very unique looking NPCs, even from the tier 3 to the tier 0, which is like the star level Mark Hamill types. So it's definitely a question that I've been thinking about for a very long time. Most likely, I'm going to assume that they're going to continue working on it even when we release more and more systems. But I do wonder, again, right now, at least, how that library looks, you could say.
I see. I mean, that's a lot of, good grief, man. Just hosting all those assets would be ridiculous, man. But work itself to make everything look unique, I just don't think, especially if they want to hit that 100 systems mark that they're talking about, it just doesn't seem possible. But what is it called? R-Corp didn't seem possible. A planet Coruscant, it's like a Coruscant, just the whole thing is covered in buildings. I mean, they gotta cheat a little bit, but I didn't think that was gonna be possible. So you never know what kind of rabbit they might pull out. Hey man, Cal, you bring your topic up and somebody lead us to another room, because I'm tired of looking at this room now.
All right, sure.
I actually, real quick, I had something to say about the moons.
Yeah.
Okay, that's no moon.
You had mentioned, you'd asked about whether or not we thought that they were getting towards their ability to keep creating diversity in them, right?
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of stuff they can still do. Just from the stuff that we've seen over the years, whether it be rock arches, whether it be canyons, whether it be some of the newer stuff that they showed in the last couple of months, they've definitely shown that they can combine a lot of different height maps and materials to make some crazy looking moons. I don't know about the lore, really. I know Astropub's in the chat, so he might be able to answer this, but the Stanton moons perhaps could be very basic moons. I don't know, but I think given what they've shown us they can do with the height maps, the fact that they're working on lava, like there are a lot of things they could do with moons still, I think. And right now, maybe they just want to pump them out. Maybe they just want to get good at them. They told the team, hey, you guys got good at moons. Can you now please work on getting better at biomes and the editor and maybe planets? But I think as we get further on and they're allowed to experiment a little bit more with some of the crazier systems, I think there's a lot of diversity we're going to see in that regard.
I hope so. I mean, I guess that's my limited imagination saying I just can't see it. But my man took his shirt off and hopped in the pool.
That's right.
So I kind of started
I think I'm
suffocating
dying.
right there. Yeah.
You
Get out.
There's actually water
I
here.
started to
We
was
lost
down
him,
my
man. I was just gonna
Something is
mention
dying
rivers
swapped
too.
in the stream.
You can't put salt in the pool, man.
Did you
No.
did you go to the hospital? You didn't go to the hospital bed, did you? The
No,
main
I'll
bed.
meet you. I'll join the ship. Don't worry about me.
Okay.
I'll get there.
I'm gonna go to the hospital bed because
I
I
wouldn't
forgot
do
all
that.
about
Yep,
it.
yep. That's my warning.
You're welcome for reminding you guys. I reminded you.
For real.
And I was trying to have
man,
a
I
little
don't
bit
remember
of
saying.
fun.
He was the
That
one who
sweet.
tried out the food the first time and ran away sick. We're all like,
Royal
okay.
Taster.
So, my question was, well, this one is for much more later down the road. So when the game is released, and we'll be starting off with a lot of ships, a lot of locations. Some argue, right, especially if, for instance, you have a lot of ships, that this may take away the gameplay experiences. They're kind of, I would be very frank, based on some interpretations, they're robbing themselves of the given hours and fun, quote unquote, by getting to the ships and doing the things that those ships that you would need, by getting those ships specifically. So my question was, and of course others argue that it should be CIG's responsibility. However, you may look at that to provide enough gameplay for backers who that contributed to getting a lot of ships, so that they'll also start the game off with having a lot of fun. That would be equal to someone who didn't start the game with that many ships. So, for instance, in my case, where I don't have any ships other than an Aurora, and as opposed to someone who spent thousands of dollars, let's say, to have a large fleet of ships. What do you guys think in terms of that argument? Is CIG entitled to put in enough gameplay aspects to satisfy those who have contributed to the development of the game, you could say, or is it something that they themselves, that is the backers, should take responsibility over?
As in, like, what, making their own fun?
Yeah.
I feel very. I mean, you're basically asking, is Star Citizen pay to win? In a way, right? Like,
in a way,
loosely,
yeah.
but not really.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it is or it isn't against each other. One side is, I guess, players more like myself that want a bit of a hardcore experience where you do have to grind a little bit and you got to earn your good components and things like that. But then there's this other side of the community that doesn't want those things. But the issue isn't that it is one or the other. The issue is that nobody knows if there is a grind or not. So you have people buying spaceships that they don't know if they're going to need because they don't know how hard they're going to have to work for them. And then you have other players that are getting mad at players for buying spaceships because they don't want their game to be casual, right? But in reality, nobody knows what it is. And it's this like polarizing thing, but also like pretty advantageous for CIG, right? The thing for me is I absolutely feel it's CIG's job to make the experience that you take from whatever 0 is to whatever you decide is your end game, which I think is in a game like this should be fairly loose. It's their job to make that enjoyable. That is their entire existence, is to make that enjoyable. If they don't do that, they failed at their job, is how I feel about it. And yeah, I don't know what you guys think, but that's my whole thing. Is it's literally your job to make a video game. It's not our job to, right?
Yeah, if this was something that was happening outside of CIG's power, then I'd be like, okay, well, that's kind of crappy that they're going to need to accommodate for that. But like, they are actually pushing people to buy these ships. So yeah. if you're going to tell people, hey, buy this ship, don't worry, it's going to be fun when it comes out, then like you have to make sure it's fun.
Crush the Aurora with the Nomad, right? Like,
I got a reference.
That was literally one of the marketing things.
Oh, what just happened? I got to reference a quote. Well, I'm not going to remember the quote. I'm going to paraphrase with that Chris Roberts said that, dude, we got all the money we need. You don't need to buy anything. Just get us $45 starter pack or whatever it is now, and you're good to go. We're solvent.
Unfortunately, that's not what plays for everybody when they hop on the website.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think I mean, if they're gonna sell
he's talking
ships
to older backers that have spent like $10K.
Yeah,
yeah.
Now that is crazy. I don't know how people do that. That is wild. Like, I ain't mad at nobody for spending their money how they want to spend it, but couldn't be me.
People just have the money for it, man.
If I had $1 billion, I don't think that's where my money would be.
If I had $1 billion, I would probably just be like, all right, so how much do I need to invest into this? Just get it done.
Yeah.
Just take the hit for everybody else. Yeah. I mean, okay, that's an interesting question though. What if you say you could end all of this ship buying stuff by just writing a check for the company for however much money they say they need to finish the game, and then they cut ship sales?
Wouldn't that be unfair for the guy who buys today?
I mean, that's always the argument, right?
Yeah.
Who's it unfair for?
So what happens after that? Like, everybody, like, the ships are only purchasable in game?
I guess. I don't know, man. I didn't get that far. I was just coming up with the question as it came.
That's what we do.
They've gone too far. That's why, like, at the beginning, you just have to you just have to accept that ship sales are either pay to win, or they're not, and you hope that they're not, and that the whatever reputation aspects they put in the game prevents that from being a major issue, even though it still will be somewhat of an issue.
I'm not mad at people that you know, buy crazy amounts of ships, spend a bunch of money, because typically they're trading money for time.
Doesn't make
right?
them good.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. Doesn't make them good. A lot of people that, and I hate to keep going back to GTA Online, like they would buy everything, all the shark cars, and just buy everything, but they kind of sucked because they didn't have the time to put into it and get good with it. So, Mike, are you just hanging out at the space station? I just see you just sitting there.
No, I died a couple times.
You too good for us, huh? I'm just kidding.
No, I'm on route. I kept.
We're getting shot.
Are we getting shot? We are getting shot.
We're getting shot.
Time to go to the
stations.
Oh boy.
Stations.
I did not bring the right ship to come here. Then, dang.
All right, y'all catch them turrets, man.
You access a turret from here?
No, you can get it through the hangar, underneath the basketball court, and then opposite side of the room.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, this is a remote turret.
Yeah, that's a remote.
Oh, I thought that was Cal. So I forgot.
I can't see him. I don't know where. Oh, there we are.
Why don't I have
Can you
no
tip
right.
up a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, firing.
Is it an
He's
NPC?
gone. Yeah, it was an
I was
NPC.
trying to catch his name. What was his name? Was that a NPC or a person?
Colin Farrell or something. Colin something. Probably not Colin Farrell.
Whoa, famous.
He probably is decided to stream snipe us.
I love that the cruise control actually works now, man. We've been moving forward this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That explains why I'm having a hard time getting to you.
I mean, we're only going at 157 meters per second.
I know, but it keeps spooling on people and not the ship. Let me try this. There we go. All right, I'll be there in a second. You're in the captain's seat, right? You're gonna have to open up the door for me. I'm coming with the ship.
Oh,
that
you
I
gonna
can
land on it?
in.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, though I can't even remember what we were talking about anymore. But the
Buying ships.
I think we were talking about pay to win, right?
Yeah.
I don't buy that it's pay to win anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
It's too far gone, dude. Like the idea of a ship mattering, and the whole idea of like, I do kind of agree with what is winning in the game. It just will really suck if there's certain scenarios, like think, I don't know, man. I'm out there mining and you come by with your better mining ship and just mine the thing that I'm trying to mine really quickly, right? Or something like that. That kind of stuff wouldn't be very fun.
But like you said, as long as they can set it up, like make it so that I can go out with my prospector, and even if you do come out in your, I don't know, Crusader mining ship 3000, whatever it's called, like your better mining ship.
If you suck, yeah,
as long as I can still beat you because I'm just better, then I can dig that.
Yep.
32. But yeah, the idea of somebody just being able to hop up and like take you out and or do whatever you were doing just because they paid more money can be a little bit annoying.
32. Nice. How did you open up the thing if I'm in the captain's seat?
Oh, I did it from the hangar.
Oh, you were in the hangar.
Yeah.
I was thinking you was on the bridge.
I'm trying to stay, but
let me go ahead and you don't want to do an interstellar docking scene.
I know how fast you're moving, so I'm trying to go there, but when I move, everything's moving.
Yeah, let me slow.
So that takes me to my my second question, which is a little closer to this year. It has to do with server meshing, because again, this is something that's people get really excited about it. some persons hold off their expectations about it. But given how certain features come into the game, and of course there's always a tier 0 and then a tier 1, etc. What are your initial player count expectations? For the first version of super meshing, and why that? Why is that? Why do you think a certain, that player count? Why did you choose that player count?
Or
Wow.
the very, very first implementation, like when they first introduced it to the game, I don't think it'll change.
Okay.
I think that it'll probably stay at 50 player servers, and they'll try and fit more than one server into the system.
And better performance.
Yeah. But
Because now it's 50
yeah.
players around a planet,
right.
not 50 players in the entire star system, right?
Right.
Is it
Yeah.
per planet or is
Either-
it-
Are you asking how many
Either
in an
that-
entire server then? Maybe that's what he's
Yeah. So say you jump into the PU, because from what we understand, with regards to a shard, you can't really, go from one instance to another, right? So, arguably speaking, what is your expectation on the server population if you were to go into the PU? What is, what do you think that first player count would be? If it didn't change or if it's going to increase?
like, will they exist like that? Isn't it like per is it not object container? Well, yeah, kind of object container streaming, right? Doesn't that play into that?
But at least from what we understand with
saying
the
a
shards.
shard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the shard itself, because you cannot transition between a shard. A shard is like what we have now, but the only difference is that it will have a mesh of servers as opposed to one server managing a group of players.
Yeah,
So you're saying the shard is going to be made up of multiple servers?
Yeah, correct.
Correct.
Okay.
So how I understand it, and this was like from Spectrum, is they're most likely going to do the EU, Australia, and US, and maybe it's like EU 1, Australia 1, US 1, that kind of thing, and then each planet would be its own server. So if you were to do that, I totally agree with Space that each server within a shard would be 50 players. Then you have Crusader, ArcCorp, Microtech, and Hurston.
So you think in
And-
total it'll be about 200?
200, yeah, maybe. And then when you're in quantum travel, you just skip. You cross over a server line, right?
Right.
That would
Okay.
be my guess.
What about you, Dig?
I only care about me.
There's going to be one person that they're going to
As long
reduce it
as
to
you're
one
in the
person in the server.
If I'm in the server, that's all that count.
Game
Nah,
succeeded.
I don't know, because I haven't been, like, I've never played World of Warcraft or some of those games where you can get ridiculous amounts of people into a shard or whatever the term is. So I don't really have the background to have an intelligent answer. I can tell you what I've seen people say. Like, some people will say this with absolute certainty, even though there's no way they can be certain. They're like, man, there's going to be 100 players per server. There's going to be 500. I'm like, I don't know. And I don't think y'all know either, man. So not you
Nope.
guys, but
No,
the
we
people
don't.
saying that.
No, you got to trust them, Dig.
Yeah, I guess
They
so.
know.
The Redditors know. The
That's
Redditors
right.
know everything, dude.
Hey, Redditor Wall Street knows. Hey, I guess that'll be another stream. Man, I gotta say, this I don't know if you call this a great room or whatever this big open area is, like the lobby kind of area with all the stairs and stuff. It is incredible to be in, like quantum
Yeah, I'm just
traveling
hanging out,
or
looking out the
anything.
window up here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I can get on board with that.
Awesome. What other questions y'all had? Oh wait, we at the 2 hour mark. I don't know what kind of time you guys got. Do you guys got a break or?
I can hang for a little bit longer, but not much.
Yeah, I can do a little.
Yeah, same.
It's till 11 at night here right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you probably get up early, huh?
I'm
Y'all probably
supposed
do.
to.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to, but
Supposed to don't always cut it.
I guess I should rephrase. I get up early. I just don't get to work early.
There it is.
Oh, here you go. Somebody's trying to snipe you. You see it?
Nah. What are you talking about?
Somebody called you.
Oh.
Trying to get your marker.
Oh, is that?
Yep.
That
You
gives
ever
your marker
see
away
join
if you
direct
answer
message?
Really?
No, even if you don't answer, they can get your marker.
I didn't know that. How can that give you a marker away? Does that put me on the?
I don't
Because
know,
we're not in a party
but
with them. How does that work?
I don't know, but they get your marker like it's a party marker.
Wow.
Messed up.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, CIG, fix it, please.
Been that way for a while. I think about a year now.
It's gonna be so weird. Who is that with the? That is Salty. That's you with the armor and the gun on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wondering how much of a hassle that's, because you know how it takes so long to change your clothes and change the armor, and you know how in the future we're not going to be able to like just hop in a fighter with all that stuff on. I can't see your armor, so I don't know if it's heavy or not, but like you have to change out of that to be able to fly in a, you know, in a tight cockpit.
I hope that's the way it is. I thought I was
do
gonna
too.
hate the eating and drinking thing, and I love it because it seems more reasonable. It's not like most survival games where you run for a little while and then all of a sudden you're dying of thirst, you know?
Arc.
Yeah.
I do hope that they build in buffs to the system to make it a little more interesting. You know, I don't want it to just be about staying alive. I also want to be able to eat and drink to actually gain something from it. But that does seem like something they're doing with the tier 2.
There's some if you eat a certain, I think it's a mushroom on Microtech, you gain health, and there's another thing where you can gain I think a little bit of stamina or something.
That's cool.
So it's kind of there, but yeah, I think they're gonna build on it a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the bones are there, that means that they're thinking about
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a nutrition guide, and yeah, they definitely like New Babbage got the best stuff to eat in the game because they give you buffs like crazy.
That's
So
right.
they
That's
do
where
have-
I know some of this info from, was from that video.
it. Huh.
Yes, sir. Do y'all? Oh, you know what? This is what I missed, and maybe y'all caught it better than I did. I know somebody had asked on the last Star Citizen Live. Somebody asked if they were gonna do custom HUD colors, and they were like, "Well, no, they're gonna do like it'll be manufacturer specific." But then I also feel like they kind of left it open that it'll be manufacturer specific, but then maybe at some point you can do your own custom HUD colors. Is that something y'all be interested in?
I've never really
Absolutely.
cared. It's two wildly different answers, but I've just
I
not
think Elite
ever thought
Dangerous.
about it.
Never thought about it.
Yeah,
But
I
you played
guess
Elite Dangerous though, right?
a little bit. And that's the thing.
okay,
Elite
not
Dangerous and
much.
Star Citizen, these are the first two games I've never played a space sim before this game. I
neither.
grew up on the
Well,
Nintendo
before,
64, the Xbox, the PlayStation. I got into PC gaming with Star Citizen, so thinking about customizing a HUD isn't something I've really put much thought into. But I can say that I was just working on a video for this actually, and they did say after that they are going to allow for custom colors. Not necessarily we pick the colors, but just different colors.
Oh, okay. See, I put I got thousands of hours in Elite Dangerous, and you get tired of seeing that orange HUD. And it was crazy because it's so easy for them to be able to give you some options for that. You can do it without their help on the PC, but you can't do anything about it on a console. And so I made a video and I was like, well, I'm not going to change my HUD colors ever until the console people can change theirs. And I thought it was so like, why don't you just do it? And they can't. I don't know what the difficulties could be, because if you change it yourself, then you're gonna mess up some of your other like colors, like for your HUD when you're on foot in Odyssey. But yeah, I mean, they still gotta have a way around that, because that
I
orange
would
is
really like,
grading.
For it to come in, especially with the progress with building blocks. I'm going to assume it's easier for the developers, and if it's easier for the developers to change the colors and such compared to the whole Flash approach, I'm going to hope that it is even though it's just cosmetics, it just adds some extra level of individuality for the player. And I think for a lot of players, wanting that individuality and that ability to customize what they have, what they own, is going to add some flavor to their own personal appreciation for what the game is. So here's hoping with building blocks. It's easier for the devs, and it's also easier for them too. That actually no, I'll wait. I think Salty Mike wanted to comment on that too.
No, I just kind of said, yeah, sure. I'd want to be able to customize. I don't really have much to it other than I'd actually like to be able to customize what's shown on the HUD and what's not, like where I can kind of turn things on and off if I wanted to. Less so the colors. It can be very cluttered at times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be more important to me than the colors.
Right.
One of the things that wait, did I release that video? No, it's my next video that's getting released. Well, you know what? I'll just wait till I release that video. I will hold that question.
Almost got to dig that leak.
That's almost. All right, we stopped, and I'm not gonna sit here in the same place just in case somebody's coming. We had to hit battle stations. Do you guys have any idea how the little globe and the Carrack and even here on the bridge of the 890, how that's supposed to work?
I'm assuming it'll be something like what we saw in the Squadron 42 vertical slice in that trailer. It'll be like a large 3D HUD or a large 3D radar.
So it's gonna be more of a radar.
We should be able to see some dots or indications of whatever's on within the area, and we may be able to select it or whatever is on that globe. So.
And judging by what they've said about being able to pass targets and map data between each other, I would suspect that at least for ships that have long distance probes, you'd be able to see space from that probe's perspective or space from a Terrapin's perspective. But, obviously that's speculation. They've talked about the ability to send that data. I just don't know how we can display it.
So do you think when we actually got probes like in the Reclaimer and I forget what other ships, the Carrack, do you think it'd just be like flying the ship, or do you think it's gonna kind of be a different thing altogether?
I think we'll send them out. I did a video on this last week because they talked about it a little bit in that Star Citizen Live, but I think it's going to be kind of like the drones where you send them out, they can fly, they have a quantum drive, they have a destination, they get there, and then they do the same thing your ship does. Yeah, they said this is long distance and intra-system.
Okay.
So you send them out across the system and then they ping. If they have a quantum drive, I'm gonna need them to put at least a tiny, barely go anywhere quantum drive on the MPUV. Have you guys ever tried to fly MPUV from like a station down to the planet? It'd take forever.
Every day for not Invictus, the other sail. Oh man, IAE. When it was at Microtech, I would take one of the ships from that day, and on Argo Day I flew it down all the way from the Port Tressler down to New Babbage.
Oh, it's a beast.
Do not recommend.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
But yeah, I mean, the idea that these like tiny ships don't have quantum drives is so silly when the scale of the universe is so massive, right? Like flying across a planet should not. I feel like CIG like at times like doesn't respect your time or the way they're designing the game. Like get in this elevator, drive on this train, then get in another elevator, then wait for the door to open, then fly out of atmosphere, then quantum travel for 10 minutes, and then you can do what you want to do.
See, I'm not mad at that. I don't mind living the life of, or doing all the things of somebody that's living a life of This dude Obsidian, and he says that quantum travel times are too long, and super cruise times are too long. And I'm like, well, that gives me time, like in the future, to do some, like, I don't know, put a pizza in the microwave and eat it and sit down with the homies while we go travel somebody and plan out what we're gonna do. I don't mind, man. Do you mind space? Do you mind, Cal?
No, I actually, the time taken, sometimes it can get annoying to me, but I think I've just gotten so used to it that it doesn't really bother me that much. I factor it into the time it takes to play, and that honestly is the annoying part, is that if I'm gonna do something in game, I gotta schedule out like 2 hours at least. That does get a little bit on my nerves, but the act of actually doing it has never really annoyed me, because that's what I always thought of the game as anyways.
Can I rephrase it in a little bit? Because I don't disagree with what you guys are saying.
Yes,
I guess it's more along the lines of you die to a bug and you got to do it again.
Yeah, now that can get wearing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, look at how long it took me to get back to the ship. You guys were 1,000 kilometers from me. Took me a while.
There's some truth in that, but I guess once the game is fixed and we're not dying of bugs, then maybe that's a consequence. Like,
it's alpha self.
It comes down to what Space was talking about. Like, will you live out in space or will you live on a planet? I mean, these are the choices that you'll make. And now the more I think about it and how much I hate the terrain and this stuff, that I'll probably just live in space, right? Because then you avoid all that stuff. You just walk up out of your bed, you get in your captain's seat, and you go about whatever you were doing.
Yeah, man. It's like working from home.
Exactly.
You're already right there.
I like how there's insurance.
I'm gonna be a work from homer.
I like how there's insurance to allow you to spawn in your hab. Like, did y'all see that stuff? I know y'all seen that inside Star Citizen.
Yeah. The company, the insurance company.
Yeah, like to spawn in your hab, which I don't think many people would be, because the quickest way to get anywhere right now is to spawn either in Port Olisar or spawn at any of the space stations. I can't see, unless you got like a bunch of supplies and stuff inside of your hab, I can't see choosing, especially paying more to spawn inside of your hab. Especially if you got those same things that could be in your hab already inside your ship.
Well, I guess, there would be some convenience, especially when personal inventory comes online. It may be, and of course cheaper, because you have to do things like consider life support systems. We don't even know how if that's going to be part of the repair, refuel, reservice aspect.
Yeah. So
it coming from your hab as opposed to living on your ship may be cheaper, but of course that doesn't mean that they would make it cheaper enough to just literally discourage people to live out to not live in their ship, because I'm sure myself also included, I would also definitely love to live on my ship for an extended period of time.
I think it would be cool, but it would be for me like going to like in Elite Dangerous. I keep saying that Elite Dangerous, like when people visit the middle of the galaxy, like Sag A or it's just some far out place, like living on my ship for a while. But then after a while, I got to come back to somewhere.
That was something that somebody had said when they were complaining about the new update in Elite Dangerous, was that they were somebody who's been gone from any real normal space or star systems for like over a year, and they didn't want to have to return to some random star system to get a suit that was released into the game. And I was just, that's what really sparked that thought in my head. I was like, wow, that's crazy that you are in a position where you just straight up don't want to return to civilized space because you've been out there so long.
Those are the hermits, man. We got those on Earth.
Yeah.
I think Down to Earth Astronomy did that. Went out to Sag A or somewhere and just stayed there for months, if not a year or more. I don't know, but he does a lot of mining, and he was in a place where he could do that, and that was his gameplay. Me, I gotta go. I would probably get bored if I don't see somebody for a long time. I know it's kind of weird in a video game, but I think it would be true for me.
Well, I guess that's because of the whole design behind Star Citizen, right? Part of the design, at least I think, part of the fundamental design is having some kind of social aspect. Even if you're not the type to be in a large org or even a party, they're basing part of the game design around being able to interact with other players. So, not being able to at least meet somebody, in Star Citizen, isn't something that I think the devs don't. Isn't something that the devs want. They want persons to interact with each other in some small way or fashion. So, I think I can totally see where you're coming from with that.
Saluting gluten. What other you guys brought or put? Did you guys bring 2 topics, or because Kyle Ryder he spit to space and salt? Did y'all have another topic that you hadn't unleashed on us yet?
Well, I kind of had something about base building. It's another speculation question, but it was just more about. I don't really get to talk to people about the base building much, and so I wanted to hear other people's opinions on what they'd want to see from it. Though all we know so far is that the Pioneer can be used for base building. But I was wondering if people were interested in seeing more low-level building mechanics with like handheld tools, or if people wanted to see it kind of restricted to those ships so that it was a very serious thing. You had to become a professional at it and like really work towards it so that people came calling for you. Because, there's a lot of games that have casual building out there, and I always wondered if Star Citizen could fit that in or not.
Man, I would love to see it as detailed as possible. Like, I'm a big fan of Fallout, like the base building on Fallout 4, or the settlement building, I guess it was called. And I like building something custom. I don't think we'll be able to. This dude getting naked with the bag on his head. I would love to see something like that. I don't think they'll do it, but I would love to see it. But another point, something that you just mentioned, was like having people that specialize in that skill. And one of my guys, he had put together this pitch for something that they could add, and it was really detailed, where you would have to basically level up in a certain skill to be able to do some things, which I thought was great, because it has value, and it creates value in taking the time to build a specific skill, rather than everybody can do everything the exact same way. Sure, no?
Right, and I think that impacts the question of, or rather the point of making game mechanics easy to pick up but hard to master, make it so that everybody can go mining, but you got to be really good at it to actually do serious mining.
Yeah, I think that would be great, man. Like, it should be, well, I don't know about should, but it would be great if it was like an unlockable skill. Like, you got to put in hours to be able to do tier 2 mining or tier 3 mining, as opposed to, somebody who's just playing, like, who's usually a bounty hunter, but they want to do some mining, then they can't do it as well until they put the time in. So maybe it might be worth hiring like a tier 2 miner to come help you out, or a tier 2 builder, settlement builder.
And when it comes to
this economy, baby,
like building blocks, right? Building blocks, and you get reputations with those companies, and it's a lot of work to get that reputation. So you can't have the highest rep for the mining guild, the builders guild, and the bounty hunters guild. You got to kind of choose your path, and in some way you could do a little bit of everything but not be the highest rep with it, or you could try and make some choices. I think the big thing that CIG has been talking about over the last, I don't know, maybe year and a half, is they really want to provide a lot of choice in the game, whether it's the choice of ship, choice of weapon, choice of armor, choice of clothing. I think this can fall into that. So, like, imagine building up rep and then getting the ability to purchase or craft maybe a blueprint of some kind, all sorts of different building blocks, and then you could be your org's builder, right? Or you can be a for hire builder. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, see, that's hot. What you think, Callie?
Yeah, I've always also preferred the idea behind even building, being able to at least have some kind of ability, or be able to pay someone to build something that isn't necessary, that doesn't necessarily need the Pioneer. Coming from someone who's played Arc a lot some years ago,
Dinosaur ships.
Huh?
Dinosaur ships.
Pretty much, yeah. So being able to at least build something that can store something small, especially when we're getting personal inventory, being able to go on some plot of land, because I'm totally sure we'll be able to afford at least buying a small section of land before we could even get close to being able to purchase a Pioneer, even as a small org. So I would say that at least having some kind of way to build your reputation with the suitable factions, be able to pay someone, or just flat out having some kind of other opportunity to build something small to facilitate your inventory, where you can be more independent of a hab or some kind of hero location that you can actually store your stuff, and more so personalize where you're staying, having like a small home, and you just have that your ship next to you or something right outside.
Guys, I'm stuck on the chessboard in the bedroom. On the stairs. Somebody come jump on me or something.
I'm coming.
Oh, I'm prone. That's why I'm
I'll throw one more part into that question, by the way. How will they make base building skill based?
I think it could be similar to mining. Like, I think you not only place the block, but you also craft it, right? Inside the ship.
Thank you.
I don't know. Just jumped on you.
Oh man.
Dig, you kill all your fish?
Yeah, man. I fried them up, man.
That's what happens when you're living on your ship. You gotta have food.
Yeah.
That's right, man. And I drank the water. I'm about to drink the water once I run out. Yeah, that'd be weird if you're like a low-level base builder and you just build like just a little ramshackle city, a ramshackle settlement, falling apart, foundation don't exist.
You just cover an entire. You make a low quality R corp.
Yeah. Oh man. Look like Fallout.
I think being able to build as I wouldn't say a new player, but you've bought a prospector and you're able to refine stuff maybe at a station, and being able to at least pay be it an NPC faction or some more experienced builder or player, without the need for a Pioneer, would open up some more aspects in terms of, for instance, you can rent certain places out. If someone just wants to crash in a certain star system and there aren't that many stations around, if they just want to stay on this planet, maybe you can rent it out, or just do something for someone else. And of course, in terms of the skill part about it, yeah, I can definitely agree that it would also be dependent on other professions. And similar to the whole refinery aspect, where they were talking about, where it kind of depends on refining the right kind of ore in the right kind of way, depends on how you can actually do it properly. And I think it was a ship that you were talking about. So based on the refining process, maybe it will be similar to if you have certain materials from mining and refining, you kind of have to do some kind of process that requires your skill or kind of knowledge of something to craft, if it's a wall, or I'm hugely theory crafting right now, and it may not actually make any sense, but something that actually kind of defines how well it'll turn out based on your skill. So yeah,
skill, if it ever became a thing, which I don't think it will, I would love it, man. I would love it, because then you have a a reason to just stick with something to get really good, and you kind of separate yourself from the crowd. Because most people are just gonna do whatever suits their fancy for the moment, and then you have people that are like dedicating their time to building a certain skill. But I just don't see it happening. Do you guys?
No chance.
I do. I think it will. Yeah.
Maybe I didn't understand. Do you mean skills, like leveling
Like
up?
Yeah,
like being better at
you
the
got a
game
skill
than
tree.
No,
Yeah.
Oh, nah, I don't see it happening.
No. I thought you meant like people growing their actual skill and getting better at doing something in the game, setting themselves apart. I think that'll happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got that now with, well, mostly combat, some mining, and then trading is just having, the information. I usually go get the information. A lot of people just wait for me to get the information, and then they use that to go trade. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of shallow right now, skill, except for combat. I got to give it up. Like those people that are really good at combat, put in the time. Go ahead.
That actually makes me wonder what the calling out devs will be like, and how the whole hacking UI will be. Because I think Richard Tyra, he's going to talk about that tomorrow. I hope they show us something, other than just him speaking. That is.
The hacking.
Yes,
Yeah,
Artisan Live sounds good tomorrow.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I love it when it's going to be a good Star Citizen. Like it's hard to concentrate when it's like they're just like designing something from scratch that may or may not be in the game, for me anyway. But when they're talking about stuff like that, I'm all in. I'm all in. And man, they took away my shirt. You know that shirt that new shirt at New Babbage, where it's got the little video game like animating across your shirt. Did you guys buy that?
Oh yeah, too.
They got rid of it?
Well, no,
Nah,
it's just not in my inventory.
Just lost it. Yeah.
Yo, I like how your feet are swinging off the couch.
Yo, yours are too. You're
Really?
too short, they can't reach.
You guys are too short.
Oh, it's a bum because his feet ain't touching the ground either. And Space Tomato's kind of floating like a Jedi, just a few inches off the ground.
True. Yeah, it must be something wrong.
Oh, he breakdancing, baby. He breakdancing.
Yeah. I'm bringing the heat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got one question before I have to go.
Okay.
Do you think the Star Citizen marketing videos or general Star Citizen marketing makes the effort and hard work that the devs put in makes them look bad? I feel like players and detractors of the game often are hating in a direction and maybe make the devs feel like they're not worth it, or they're not doing great work or things like that, because you see CIG marketing the game versus what we actually are playing in the game. And I think some people get upset and say some things.
I think it's like, when you see a commercial with a burger on it and the burger is just like perfect, like no burger looks like that. Or like like some clothing and you see somebody who's like super in shape, like you put it on, it's not gonna look like that unless you are super in shape. That's just kind of what marketing is, man. You making the best possible, you giving people the best possible look, which isn't always gonna match reality.
Is about the open development thing in general. I feel like some people, and I feel like I've been guilty of it, of saying, like, I even said it on the podcast, I think, like, do you guys even play your game? Do you know what you're doing? Like making assumptions about the devs' skill or the devs' care. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I know I don't like that that's what happens, because I don't think I've never met a developer that didn't care from the company. You know what I mean?
The marketing is definitely it's the rough edge of the project for me. Like you said, they're doing their job. You know,
Yeah.
you put out a video for a video game, and most of the time videos don't look like the games. That being said, Star Citizen is the kind of game that I feel they could probably make good trailers in the game itself, but that's not as cool looking. That being said, it's honestly the brochures and stuff that come out with the ships that really like kind of just get me the wrong way.
Lore BS, right? Because that's what it is. That stuff's supposed to be in lore, but it's on the website. That's in real life, you know.
Yeah,
I don't. Are insane.
Yeah, I don't.
The
and they keep getting more and more insane. Like I remember the first time we started to get those, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. I guess we'll get one of these every once in a while." And then like they just became this really, really fancy thing, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's good, but it's just the front page for selling the product."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, that kind of rubs me a little bit. Sometimes I get a little about the marketing, but for the most part, I think it is a concept trailer, to be honest.
How come Kyle Reddy look like he's shooting dice? Nah, I mean, marketing materials, to me, I've always looked at them as that. They're not real life. They're marketing materials. Yeah, I don't know, man. If you talk about them, you got to talk about every single marketing company ever.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I guess I phrased it wrong.
What are you doing down there?
So, Mike, I think I get what you mean, because compared to, for instance, a released game, right? The emotions definitely generate because of the state of the game that it is now. I think maybe 2 years from now, or okay, let me not give dates. Let me not Chris Roberts this, but I think when we get to a point where things are a lot more fluid, when there's little to no desync, that we will look at these trailers that they release and think, okay, I'm pretty impressed. I mean, we already are, I'm guessing, but the emotions generate because, even though we understand the state of the game now, the emotions generate for some because we have to live through a certain aspect, and then marketing, even though they're doing the job, it's a different outcome to the marketing videos. So it's like a bit of a double-edged sword. We're impressed by what marketing shows, but at the same time, while we understand, the emotions are still there that marketing is playing a different game because that's not the game I'm playing. So yeah, it's something that you understand, but sometimes you still get emotionally driven in a bit of a rough way when we're talking about the marketing videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
When I see those, I just go, wow, all the new players that are going to get excited. And then
they're going to see it.
What
and
the
then
hell is this,
Yeah.
That's the only thing that bothers me about those. It's not for my emotions personally.
The only thing that I'm mad about is, as far as the marketing goes, is because what was that? It was a two-parter with the two women. Like one was going to turn into the reunion. Only thing I'm mad about, because I do consider it a marketing piece, is when they flew through that asteroid, and there aren't no asteroids that you can actually fly through and shake somebody off like a hater. I need those asteroids so I could just duck through one of them and let somebody crash into a wall and me just come out looking sexy and clean.
I was hoping they'd do that with the new asteroids, but no dice.
Me too. There's always that one weird asteroid that looks like two asteroids glued together. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
They're really weirdly shaped. Space is killing me.
I'm just doing some sit-ups over here. That animation.
He's getting it. Get it. Oh, you gonna have mad ass by the time your stream done.
Let's go. This is my power song was on. I'm all good.
Oh man, we done got our steps in today. He done got his crunches in today. Oh my goodness. So what I'm gonna do is this, man, because I know some of y'all gotta go. If the Cal Space, I don't know what y'all's time is looking like, but I'm gonna do this real quick, and then I'm gonna open up for us to talk to the chat. So I'm gonna say this real quick. I appreciate everybody showing up to tune in to the first episode of Creators Crush. Hopefully we'll have many more. We're gonna go ahead. Salty is gonna go ahead and get out of here. Maybe Space too. And maybe Cal, maybe I might be the only one. I don't know. But before they do, want to make sure that you know who these guys are and where you can reach them. Once again, Space Tomato, hit them with the info.
Yes, I've got 2 YouTube channels now. One is Space Tomato, the other is Space Tomato 2. I've got Twitch. I've got Discord communities. If you're looking for an org, we've got a pretty decent org. We do a lot of training. We do a lot of events. People are online every day. And then we've also got a regular gaming org where we play other things like Titanfall, Sea of Thieves, Halo, stuff like that. So really just Google Space Tomato and you'll find something.
Well, hell yes, sir. Salty.
Same thing. You pretty much Salty Mike everywhere. That's why I changed the name to it. It was something that I could have in most places. And yeah, just making YouTube videos as best I can. I mostly talking head stuff, which I'm not a big fan of. I'd like to do more of guides for the game and stuff like that. I just haven't found my way into it. And then a lot of Twitch streaming, so twitch.tv/saltymike, and yeah, other places like Twitter and Discord and that too. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is my Discord community. There's a lot of CIG devs there, and a lot of conversation around Star Citizen and other things.
Right on. Killer Cow.
Sure. For now, we can catch me on Spectrum. I have a Twitch and YouTube channel that I sometimes work on, but I'm still working on the names and such there. So being able to reach me there may be a little hard. So for now, I'll see Spectrum.
There it is. Hey man, y'all know me, I'm dig that, and I'm sexy as a mo. Anyway, thanks again for watching the stream. Appreciate y'all coming out. To the next time, Fly Dirty Citizens. Again, we're gonna be at least me, if not Cal. I think Space Tomato might have to leave too. Oh, one more thing. I'm super behind on this. Doing a giveaway for the Hercules and the tank together. It's gonna be in-game contest to see who wants it the most. And CIG is donating another ship to give away. It's a ship that's long awaited, brand new to the verse, but long awaited. So we're gonna do a giveaway for that. That one might be a little easier to catch, so just stay tuned. And we'll say goodbye to whoever got to leave. I know Salty Mike has got to leave. You out of here too, Space, or?
Yeah, it's almost midnight here, so I probably got to get going. But
I'm gonna do a very dramatic exit.
You gonna walk away in a
if anybody has any questions for me specifically that like I don't get to answer when I leave, I'll come back and I'll check out the comments and just chime in where I can. But yeah, just want to thank everybody for coming and watching and chilling, and thank you Dig That for having us. This is awesome. This is something that I want to start doing more, just get more people in the community together to hang out. So thanks again, man.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, for real. It was a lot of fun. I always love.
Again.
Yeah, I always love talking Star Citizen. So anytime if I'm available, I'm in.
Right on. Cal, you hanging out or are you out of here too?
Yeah, I gotta skedaddle.
Okay.
But like the other guy said, it was really great. It was really fun.
Hey, appreciate y'all coming out, man. This dude this dude committed seppuku in front of me. He came back to make sure he did it in front of me.
I jumped
proper
out.
exit.
I went out the docking collar.
Which one about that?
It was wonderful.
Kill a cow with his shirt.
Everybody's just committing suicide.
And the way I'm sitting, it looked like I ordered y'all to do it, like, die for me. Dig that.
All right, man. Thanks again.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Nick.
Thank y'all for showing up.
Bye.
Yeah, take care,
Thanks
everyone.
for having us.
Yeah,
you later.
man. Anytime. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Let me know in the comments if this is your thing. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you want to see more? Until the next time, fly dirty, citizens.